All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Buffalo Sabres season has come to an end, and I have given myself a full week to go over some of the things that I wanted to talk about for the Buffalo Sabres 2021 season. Some of my closing thoughts for the Buffalo Sabres season. We're going to start and jump right into it with number one was that Ralph Krueger was a huge swing and miss by the Buffalo Sabres organization and Jason Botterill. He simply just did not have the coaching philosophy that fit the players that were in Buffalo. The Buffalo Sabres were built very fast, very skilled, and they just didn't seem to fit into the system that Ralph Krueger wanted them to fit into. And it was just never going to be a match made in heaven, and it just didn't work here in Buffalo. Now, people have said fantastic things about the person that is Ralph Krueger. However, as an NHL coach, he just didn't get the job done. Unfortunately, he had a philosophy that was very defensive-minded, supposedly, and the Sabres just didn't fit into that kind of structure or lack thereof that Ralph Krueger had. And under Don Granato, the Sabres team with their sixth string goalie and, their top player out and a top four D-man out and tons of injuries, and they were still winning games. They were still competing, which says a lot about how good of a coach Don Granato is. Now, the second thing that we are going to take away from this is that Sam Reinhart is a legitimate NHL center if he is given proper NHL wingers. Now, obviously, the Sabres have tried Sam Reinhart at center before. However, they gave him 5 games-ish, 10 games maybe, but they gave him absolute bums or, AHL level players on his wings. Of course, he was not going to be set up for success. We've seen that over the last 20 or so games, 15 games, however many he played at center. He was very, very good at it. He led the Sabres in scoring, and he scored at a 38-goal pace for an 82-game season, which is absolutely tremendous. The Sabres have not had they had a 40-goal scorer in Jeff Skinner, but before Jeff Skinner, I think it was years and years before they had a 40-goal scorer. I think Thomas Vanek was the one that was before Jeff Skinner. So Sam Reinhart was scoring at a torrid pace, and that is probably not a good thing for the Buffalo Sabres, honestly, as Sam Reinhart is a restricted free agent, and he has expressed that he does not want to go through a rebuild. And with all of the talk going on within the organization, within fans, within media, it seems like the Sabres are headed towards another rebuild, which is something that Sam Reinhart himself has said he does not want to be a part of. So with that said, the Sabres have some definite thinking and some tinkering to do in the offseason. And Reinhart is a piece that if you want to win, and you want to win now, you have to find a way to keep him here in Buffalo. Another closing thought is that Dylan Cozens may be the power forward that I have wanted in Buffalo for a long time. The power forward that we thought Marcus Foligno might be. He's got size and speed and skill. He's got all the things that you want in a 2021 NHL power forward. Not only that, but he is not afraid to drop the gloves and get into a fight. We've seen that a couple times this season, and it was very fun to watch him get into scraps, and it had a lot of people very excited about the future of Dylan Cozens for the Buffalo Sabres. It got me very excited. I think Dylan Cozens has a very, very high ceiling. He's already got NHL speed. He's already got NHL size. He's already got NHL hands. I think he's got to work a little bit on his NHL mind, so to speak, his NHL vision. But overall, I think he had a pretty solid rookie season for the Buffalo Sabres. He had 13 points in 41 games as a rookie, as I said. Strong year. He would have been on pace for in the mid-20s to 30 points. So again, I stated before, people were saying to make Dylan Cousins the number one center. He's not Jack Eichel. I hate to say it. Not many guys can come in at that age and perform as well as Eichel and McDavid and a lot of these, some of these other guys had. People need to understand how good Eichel and McDavid really, really are. They're in the category of a Sidney Crosby and players like that. They are in that category. Now, McDavid right now is just leaps and bounds ahead of everyone in the NHL offensively, period. But in that elite category is somebody like Jack Eichel, and Dylan Cousins just isn't there yet. Another thing that we can take away from this season is that Casey Middlestat, given the proper development, finally, I've only been saying this for a few years now. I've said this, I believe I said this on the podcast before. I said it before I had a podcast. If you want to go back to my later episodes, you could probably find it in there somewhere. Casey Middlestat was rushed to the NHL. I said that before. He was rushed to the NHL. He needed another full year in college. He needed a full year in the AHL. And this year, I believed he would compete for an NHL roster spot. And he has far exceeded expectations as far as competing for a roster spot. He has been very, very good. He scored, 22 points, 10 goals, 12 assists in the 41 games. And in the 28 games under Don Granato, he had 17 points, 9 goals, and 8 assists. He played at a 50-point pace under Don Granato per 82 games, and a 44-point pace overall for the Buffalo Sabres. What is that sound? That sound, ladies and gentlemen, means it is time for a hot take here at Sports Talk Buffalo, and I have one for you. This might be, it might not be as hot of a take as some people believe, but I think because of the fanfare for a certain player, this is going to be a very big hot take, and I might catch a lot of shit for this one. Provided Jack Eichel comes back as the Buffalo Sabres' number one center, I believe Casey Middlestat should be the Buffalo Sabres' number 2 center behind Eichel, but ahead of Dylan Cousins. Now, let me tell you why. Before you crap all over me, let me tell you why. I'm going to make my argument right now. Casey Middlestat had 9 more points in the same amount of games as Dylan Cousins this past season. In the same amount of games, he had a better plus-minus. He had more power play points. He had more shorthanded points. He had more game-winning goals. He had a better shooting percentage, and he had a better face-off percentage by almost a 1.5%. Casey Middlestat was far more consistent and productive this past season than was Dylan Cousins. And everyone loved Dylan Cousins. Everyone loves him. I like him. I like him a lot. And I think people had unrealistic expectations for Casey Middlestat coming into the NHL. And here's why. Everyone said what? Oh, Casey Middlestat, this guy's a bust. Oh, he's terrible. Oh, I can't believe it. We got to move on from him. I can't believe he was a top 10 pick. Well, let me hit you with something that you might change your mind about him. And the reason why I said I would continue to try to develop him. Casey Middlestat's rookie year, he scored 25 points in 77 games. That's .324 points per game. And Cousins had 13 points in 41 games. That's .317 points per game. Casey Middlestat had a better full rookie year than did Dylan Cousins, but people are drooling over Dylan Cousins, and they were upset about Casey Middlestat. Think about that. People are drooling over Dylan Cousins, and they are upset. They were upset about Casey Middlestat. Casey Middlestat statistically had a better year as a rookie than did Dylan Cousins. Obviously, they're different players, but statistically, Casey Middlestat was better. And at this point in their career, Casey Middlestat is a more consistent scorer. Whether it be an assist, a nasty pass, a nasty sauce pass. We've seen a bunch of those to Rasmus Asplund. Or an absolute snipe. We've seen a couple of those. Casey Middlestat come down and absolutely snipe a couple of them. Casey Middlestat, provided Jack Eichel comes back as your number one center, Casey Middlestat has earned the 2C for the Buffalo Sabres. Behind Eichel, but ahead of Dylan Cousins. And lastly, my last thought of the Buffalo Sabres 2020-2021 season is that Linus Ullmark is a starting caliber goaltender in the NHL. He finished his season with 20 games started. Obviously, he was limited by injuries and some personal issues. He had a 9-6-3 record for the Buffalo Sabres, a 2.63 goals against, and a .917 save percentage. Outside of Linus Ullmark, the Sabres are devoid of any NHL caliber goaltenders in the entire organization. Now, Michael Hauser and Dustin Tokarski, they were fantastic stories. I cheered for them a bunch. I loved it, but it was at a point in the season where the season was already lost, so the Sabres didn't really have anything to lose. It was just a nice story for both of these guys to play and get wins. Hauser gets his first win at 28 years old, and Dustin Tokarski gets his first win in the NHL since 2015. Fantastic stories. However, they are not NHL goaltenders. I think both of them have earned a chance to be goaltenders potentially in the AHL, if not in Buffalo somewhere. But they're not NHL caliber goaltenders, and if either one of those is your backup goaltender heading into next season, you're in trouble. Carter Hutton has been absolute dog shit the entire time he has been in Buffalo, and there's no signs pointing to him being any better for the Sabres. And UPL just isn't ready yet. Why rush a goalie? Goalies take time to develop. The Buffalo Sabres, they don't have anybody outside of Linus Ullmark, and Linus Ullmark is an unrestricted free agent. So no matter what happens with this Eichel and Reinhart saga that we're going to be hearing about for most of the summer, if the Buffalo Sabres do not address goaltending in the offseason, we're going to be sitting here next year talking about the NHL draft lottery once again, and that is not a position that I want to be in. I do not want to sit here and constantly talk about the last place Buffalo Sabres. That's going to do it for this video. Remember to click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Remember to tell all your friends and your family, spread the word about it. Share this on your social media. Let them know I'm out here doing things. I'm out here reporting on the Sabres, the Bills, and the UB Bulls basketball and football teams. And that I would love your support. I love interacting with people. So let everybody know. If you're listening to this on audio only, let your friends and family know they can hear me on any of the major podcasting websites. Subscribe and leave a great rating for me. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys. Have a fantastic week.